How will offers of compensation be communicated if brokers can't use MLSs? Doesn't this just make broker compensation less transparent? And the answer is that they gave is offers of compensation could continue to be an option consumers can pursue off MLS through negotiation and consultation with real estate professionals. So they're saying you can't put it on the MLS, but you can pick up the phone and call, you can email, you can text, you can have communications off the MLS with the listing agent to figure out what compensation they're offering for the buyer's broker. And then the next sentence I thought was interesting. It says, and sellers can offer buyer concessions on an MLS. For example, concessions that can be used for buyers' closing costs. So reading between the lines, if you're a listing agent and you have a seller who is willing to offer seller concessions, and they say, I'm willing to offer $3,000 in seller concessions. A question that you could ask your seller as the listing agent is, that's great, the seller concessions, that you want to offer. Another thing that we might have to do is we might have to pay something towards the buyer's agent. What if we put another $1,000 as part of the concessions for the buyer's agent? You could have that conversation with your seller and explain to them that the buyer's agent's going to have to get paid, and you include that extra $1,000, and now instead of $3,000 in seller concessions, you're offering $4,000 because you're accounting for the buyer's agent getting paid. Now, on the MLS, under the new rules, you can't break apart $3,000 for seller concessions and then $1,000 for buyer agent commissions. You can't do that. But you could put $4,000 for seller concessions. And so on the front end, you're just working in the buyer's agent's pay that's going to have to be paid if the deal closes. You can definitely do that. And those conversations are going to come down to your seller. Like if your seller is super motivated and they really want to sell their property, as the listing agent, you could say, well, hey, if we let buyers and buyer agents know what we will pay in compensation, we will probably attract a larger pool of buyers. We will probably get more interest, Mr. Seller, for your property versus not telling people what you're willing to pay as compensation, and then the buyer's agent is just having to guess and you're limiting your buyer pool. So if you got a seller that's really motivated and they want to market their property as best they can, then it probably benefits you as the listing agent to tell buyer's agents what you're willing to pay. But if the seller's not motivated, if they say, if this thing sells great, if it doesn't sell great, if they're not motivated and you don't have an agreement with your seller what you're going to pay the buyer's agent, you can tell the buyer's agent you don't know. But again, it cuts down your buyer pool.